September 14th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, a guy who's on the Mount Rushmore of people who aren't on Mount Rushmore, J.P. Shadrick.
And you don't want to know the reason why. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is week 2. It's Thursday. There's a lot going on at the Miller Electric Center. We've got a lot happening the next 2 hours here on Jaguars Radio. Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water. It's worth saving. Chiefs, Jaguars in week 2. We'll go through the defense of Patrick Mahomes and the weapons around him. Well, Trevor Lawrence has some weapons around him on offense. How do they plan to attack the Kansas City Chiefs? Maybe we'll hear from the head coach about that. Doug Pederson will join us at 5 o'clock for the Doug Pederson Show. In studio with us here at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. All the places, Jeff Lageman. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, JP. Big game this week.
Well, it's the big game because it's the next game.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not.
However, it's a really big next game.
It's
really big.
As big as they come. Look, it's the Super Bowl champs, man. They're coming to your house. Last year you had to go to their house twice, you know. This game could have seeded implications down the road. You never know.
You'd rather have it than not.
Oh, absolutely. And then here's an opportunity to put Kansas City at 0-2, and they have been competing in the postseason from the comfy confines of Arrowhead Stadium for how many years now?
They've hosted 5 AFC championship games in a row.
All right, so why not try to change that little setup there that they've got?
It would be nice.
Yeah.
The last time the Chiefs were 0-2 was 2014, Logs, and Alex Smith was the quarterback. Doug Pederson was the offensive coordinator. Patrick Mahomes was a freshman at Texas Tech. It's been a while.
Oof.
They finished 9-7, though. They rallied.
Well, hopefully, look, let them rally next week, just not this week.
And how about this? So, Andy Reid, if he gets a win, would tie Tom Landry for the 4th most wins in the history of the NFL.
Wow.
So he's 1 win from tying Landry if he wins on Sunday.
All right. Well,
let's make that a couple weeks away, too.
Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, at some point he's going to be in Canton and very deserving. But, and look, Doug Pederson has never beat him. What is it? Was Doug 0-3 now against Andy Reid?
1 in Philly and then 0-2 last year.
So I think it's, time to change that. And I'm sure that Doug would like to get on the winning side of things against the teacher, so to speak, or the mentor, whatever you want to call him. I mean, the first time they crossed paths was when Doug was a player with Green Bay and Andy was the quarterback's coach.
That's right. He was he was actually, I think, the tight ends coach at first and then switched over in the last year or so, and Doug was there, and then and obviously when Andy Reid got the job in Philly, he came over to Philly as a quarterback. They gave him a chance to start in Philly, of all things, and then followed him as an assistant when Reid was in Philadelphia as the head coach and when he came back into coaching. So a long history with Andy Reid, obviously, on and off the field. And it continues this Sunday. Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home. Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. Another storyline this week, of course, the quarterbacks. Mahomes versus Lawrence. It doesn't get much bigger than that. It's one of those matchups you really could remember for a long time.
Game of the week?
Could be.
Where's the better game at? If you look at the NFL schedule, and, when you say game of the week, you're talking top quarterbacks in the league. And, tonight you've got Jalen Hurts versus Kirk Cousins. That's not a marquee matchup. It's a good matchup just because it's Philadelphia and them by themselves as a draw to me. And because I think they're such a talented team across. I'm talking offense, defense, special teams, all of them.
You got the Ravens and the Bengals this week. That's a good matchup.
Yeah, it's good, but does Lamar Jackson make you go, wow?
Yes.
He does
Often.
when he runs it. Is he among?
He won an MVP.
But is he in the conversation of the elite quarterbacks in the AFC?
Yes.
I mean, from the running standpoint, he is.
Yes, he is.
I don't see it. I mean,
Anyway,
I think
that's
he's
a good
just.
bet.
I mean,
I'm not
just a
saying-
half step back.
I'm not saying that's a better matchup than this one. I'm saying that's still a very good quarterback
no. Look, I
matchup.
think it's a very good. Okay, very good. To
Thank
use
you.
your term,
Okay.
very good.
Very good. Colts,
Okay,
Texans,
Jags,
young rookies.
Oh, wait a minute. Jags, Chiefs. That's excellent.
Yes.
Okay, very good versus excellent. I'm taking excellent.
Okay, fine. Colts, Texans, young rookies, first-round draft picks this year. Okay, give it some time down the line.
Maybe one day.
Niners, Rams, no. Dolphins, Patriots, no. Tua's getting better.
Getting better. He was number 1 rated quarterback in week 1.
Pretty darn good last week.
It was unbelievable.
That's for sure. Hey, you're right. Hey, it is the matchup.
I think
week.
it's the best matchup of the week. I mean, from a quarterback standpoint. And
but it's one of those, like, you'll look back at this game maybe, and who knows how the game goes, how the next few years go will determine a lot of this. But maybe if the Jaguars get over the top in this game and it carries them in this season into the postseason, where they all of a sudden in a year or two's time have taken the throne from Kansas City, you might look back at this game as maybe the turning point.
Well, maybe, but I mean, look, taking the throne from Kansas City. Look, they got two Super Bowl wins in the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, that's history.
Well, I mean, yeah, JP, I'm all for it. Okay, but I don't think I think there's going to be a rotating crown, so to speak, in the AFC, and you just want to be in that rotation because I mean, look, there's some talented quarterbacks. I think that this game can go a long way towards solidifying Trevor Lawrence in the conversation with Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson. I mean, okay, if you want to talk about the elite quarterbacks, I mean, this could do it for Trevor. But you've got to have a moment. And I think Trevor had a moment last year against Justin Herbert in the playoffs. That was a big one. Well, now if you do that against Patrick Mahomes, people are going to say, whoa, wait a minute, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Okay, who's next? Already did Lamar Jackson last year, right?
The Bills would be next in London, right?
And Tottenham, right? I mean, and coming up in England. You know, is that considered London, by the way?
It is London, yes.
Okay, it's a big city.
Yes, it is. Just like Wembley is considered London, but it's not really London. Yeah,
it's not really London.
It's all London.
It's London, but it's not really London.
It's easier to say London.
Okay.
That's right. Also a big game. Josh Allen and the
game.
Bills, right?
Big game.
Maybe Josh will throw 3 picks to the Jags.
And well, I hope so.
Yeah.
And
we got some weeks to get to that game. This is the one, though. And this is the matchup where, okay, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the weapons he had a couple years ago. Tyreek Hill's in Miami now.
And by the way, what did he have, like 300 yards receiving the other day?
Because they decided to play man coverage against him, and he
Hello?
ran all over the place.
Hello?
Pretty wild. So he doesn't have that over-the-top guy anymore.
Well, Juju Smith-Schuster was not an over-the-top guy, but at least he was Patrick's guy last year.
Yeah.
And where did he go?
I think
He's somewhere else. He's not in Kansas City, so you have Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
he's with the Patriots.
Sky Moore.
Juju Smith-Schuster's with the Patriots.
You know, Sky Moore was a draft pick a couple years ago, and he hasn't really done anything. Kadarius Toney had the worst-rated game by a wide receiver in the National Football League week 1, and you know he's capable of better than that, but, I mean, he had a tough outing. And then you have draft picks, Justin Watson, Richie James, Justin Ross, I mean, a bunch of guys, you know, but the reality is that Patrick Mahomes can make a lot of guys look really good. And when he has Travis Kelce, he's not just a guy. Mm-mm. I mean, this guy's awesome. I mean, what is he like? I was doing the numbers. 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons for Travis Kelce.
It's remarkable. It really is.
I mean, he had like the first couple years he had, I think, like 700-800 yards receiving. And then, bam, 1,000. He's awesome. And if he's nicked up and not quite 100%, great. Because I can tell you, look, that's an area the Jaguars defense struggled with last year, defending tight ends.
You could say that for the past decade.
Well,
so many different regimes around.
Well, I mean, look,
the
I'm just living in the present.
Have made a career against the Jags.
I'm just living in the present. Last year nobody in the league gave up more receiving yards to tight ends than the Jaguars.
That's fair.
And part of the reason why is that they faced Travis Kelce.
Yes, twice. Yeah, that's right. And in the
the
game,
playoff didn't count towards those numbers that I'm talking about.
But in the playoff game, 14 catches, only 98 yards, but still 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was effective in that game.
He's so good. He's crafty.
What
he's
you don't
big.
What you don't want from him, though, Logs, is him running wild for like the 30-yard gains. That's when it can get really strange.
Well, I mean,
you can take a 6-yard gain here or there.
It's not very often that he has a 30-yard gain. I mean, that's kind of the outlier. With him, he's a tight end. Most tight ends are somewhere in that 8 to 12-yard per reception range. Kelce's typically a little bit on the higher end of that, but he's got a ton of receptions. I mean, a tight end that consistently gets 1,000 yards. I mean, is he the greatest tight end ever?
Ever? No, Gronk.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, let's look at the numbers. Let's get to a break and we'll pull the numbers up because I'm going to tell you now that's a great argument.
We could probably get into that
I'm with you
later.
I'm a big fan of Gronk.
Yeah.
But, man, consistency-wise, it's hard to get better than Kelce now.
They're neck and neck for sure. So here's the question for the Jaguars defense. How do you begin to slow him down? How do you defend him?
Kelce?
Yeah.
Bang him on the line of scrimmage and try to put 2 on him when you can. I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, he's the most consistent weapon for Patrick Mahomes play in and play out. And when you want to stop somebody, you want to take away the bread and butter. And right now, I mean, that's the most comfortable bread and butter thing that that Patrick Mahomes has is Travis Kelce. I mean, he's that good. I mean, he's just dynamic in so many different ways, and he's a pretty decent blocker too. Which is kind of odd. A lot of times when you get a guy that just wants to catch the ball, but Kelce's willing to do a little bit of the dirty work as well. And those two guys, I mean, one little look from one to the other, and it's like this unspoken communication that happens with these two guys, and all of a sudden they change the route and do things, that adjustments on the sideline. I mean, he's a special player now. And here's the crazy thing. Mm-hmm. Kelce hasn't missed a game in like forever. I mean, for him to miss the opening game, I mean, I think he has, I don't know how many consecutive games with a catch, but the number is just jaw-dropping. It's incredible.
They always find a way to get the ball to him if he's out there.
Well, always. He finds a way to open the lane to get the ball to him. I mean, he's that good. I don't think you can cover him with one guy. I mean, JP, name me one guy on this Jaguars football team that you would feel good about. You know what? Hey, you cover Kelce, and we're going to be just fine.
So Kelce's not like a dynamic, fast guy, though.
Right. But I mean, tell me somebody that you would feel good about that.
I mean, him or Cisco, somebody like that.
You feel good about that?
Yeah. I don't feel great about it, but
I'm not feeling great about it.
Who would you put on him?
2. put both of them on him.
Put 2 different guys, both of those guys.
Devin Lloyd and Andre Cisco.
Good luck. You are not getting the football.
I'm going to play with 12.
We'll see what happens with that. It's something to watch, obviously, in this game to see his status as we move along. We'll get the injury report coming up in just a little bit as well. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. We'll come back in a moment. Jaguars offense. What could they do against the Chiefs' defense this week? Chris Jones is back, you might have heard, on the defensive line for the Chiefs. And at about 4:30, Kai Stevens joins us in studio. We are underway on Thursday. It is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
As the game progresses, they get better, right? And so that's something that is a challenge for us, you know. And one of the things that we've been able to do most recently is the same thing, you know, get better kind of as the game progresses and get into the fourth quarter. And evident of that last week, you know, and how we, you know, we're able to score, defense gets the stops, things like that. And you know, it could come down to that, right? It could come down to a kick. It could come down to whoever has the ball last, which, you know, you do look at the playoff game, right? And if we don't fumble, hopefully you score. You're down 3 with, you know, 5 minutes to go. You get the, you know, so it's going to come down to those types of moments.
It's the head coach, Doug Pederson. You'll hear more from him coming up at 5 o'clock on the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. The game this Sunday presented by Everbank. The Chiefs and the Jaguars coming up. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Glad you're with us. Hit us up on X as well, at JP Shadrick, at Logs56.
X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. Posts on X.
Yeah.
All right, so the Jaguars offense last week, just briefly review, you know, 3rd and 4th downs, not ideal for this Jags offense, but they found a way in key moments late to score, and they put up 31 points on a day where they were just awful on 3rd and 4th down.
Well, and credit the defense that really, I think, I mean, look, they hung a 31 donut on the Colts, but without defense, that doesn't happen.
That's right.
I mean, there's just no way.
Nope.
I think what really impressed me, and just because I want to focus in on the defense just for a little minute, because that really enabled the offense the time to get better in the course of the game. And if you think about it, when the Colts took the lead, or the Jaguars took the lead at 17-14, they hit a stretch of offense that was just miserable. I mean, not good at all. And during that stretch was the sack, cost fumble, return for a touchdown, the quadfecta for DeForest Buckner. But in that stretch, The Jaguars' defense, I think, had 3 3-and-outs and then a takeaway, which led to the 47-yard punt return by Jamal Agnew. So, I mean, the defense in that stretch, when they needed them most, they were lights out. And then all of a sudden, you get the punt return. The offense wakes up, thank goodness, to a 4th down conversion to Zay Jones on that drive.
Second big catch of the game for him.
And then, boom, you're in the end zone, and then you come back out. Tyson gets a really nice interception on a poorly thrown ball by the rookie, and then the offense takes it down the field in just a couple plays, and then they're in the end zone. And now it's a 2-possession game, and the game is essentially over because Anthony Richardson that's not the position you want to have a young quarterback in. But the defense, I think, got to give them a lot of credit. A lot of people had a lot of questions about it, including me. Can they rush the passer? Can they hold up? They didn't add any parts or pieces to the component through the offseason. Is that going to be okay? And look, they played fantastic. 3 takeaways as a defense. You got 7 points off of those 3 takeaways. You also stopped the Colts 2 times on downs. Just a tremendous job. Yeah,
really good job. And the offense now moving ahead against this Kansas City defense. They've got Chris Smith. How much of a difference will that make up front? Jaguars have a couple guys on the injury report this week. We'll see their status.
You're talking about Chris Jones this week?
No, well, Chris Jones up front.
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Okay,
but there's the center and right guard are both on the injury report for the Jaguars.
Something to watch.
We'll see their status moving ahead, but. What can you really expect from Chris Smith being out for so
long? Chris Smith. What do you mean, Chris Smith?
Chris Jones. I'm sorry. Jeez, my gosh. What in the world?
I
knew it was like a basic name.
Me for a loop
I don't know.
JP.
It's a long day.
Chris Smith, former Jaguar defensive end, played for the Bengals.
He passed away recently, too.
Yes, he did pass away.
Gosh.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, I think you're talking about 25 snaps in this game. Because you're talking 90-degree temperatures possibly. It's his first action back. He is the best player on the Chiefs' defense, hands down. It's not even an argument. I mean, he's that good. You're talking about the second best defensive tackle in the league, the only guy that I think that can dominate a game like an Aaron Donald from that defensive tackle spot. I mean, he's unbelievable. And the Jaguars have a weakness right now. The performance that DeForest Buckner had this past game showed that the Jaguars need to be better at those 2 guard spots in the center position. Barch was in his first game back and hadn't played in a while, was coming back from a significant knee injury, had a little bit of a play time there against Miami Dolphins. Well, this guy this week, I mean – yeah, it's a whole – I don't want to say it's a whole different level because DeForest Buckner is one of the elite tackles in the game, probably like number 5 or 6. But we're talking about number 2 here, okay? Number 2 that's big, strong. He can rush the passer. He can do everything. And I'm surprised that they were able to get him back in the fold on a 1-year deal. I mean, I'm shocked.
I mean, I was reading through, I have to go find it again, some of the incentives to do that. If they make a run again, let's say they go win the Super Bowl, he's getting a significant bonus that comes with some of the playtime incentives, a lot of the number incentives, everything that comes with that. If he gets voted to these things, they've added that to at least this 1 year. I would guess. I mean, they're going to go fix that.
Well, Chris Jones said himself, he said, they gave me enough of an increase this year that would cover the fines because, remember, he had fines that could not be rescinded for missing time in training camp because he had a contract. Mm-hmm. And then also the missed game check. So he's going to make all of that back, and he's going to get some more. And I haven't heard whether or not that there was an agreement to have the ability to tag him or not at the end of this deal. I was hoping that he would hold out for another week. I wouldn't have been entirely upset. But, I mean, he's such a good football player that he now makes them better because not only are they getting him back, but now they're putting other players back in the position that they can be better at as well. For example, Mike Dana Okay, Mike Dana's a kind of a defensive end. Good player, strong player. They had him as an inside rusher this past game. Well, he's a powerful guy. Keep him outside. Noddy, another defensive tackle, is a very good football player that they have for Kansas City. And now you allow him to be in a comfortable position playing where he should be at. They're trying to have everybody kind of cover for the lack of Chris Jones being on the football team this past game. This week, you're going to still have to do some things, but you're going to have the man back in the middle.
A few of those numbers that we were just talking about for Jones. Yeah, he gets $1 million for participating 35% of the snaps, another $1 million for 50%. If he gets 10 sacks, he gets 1.25. Now it's 1.75. He has 15. So it just builds up and up. And the $2.1 million in training camp fines are not waivable. That's why they added all these incentives.
Right.
That's the point. All right, so what does this defense normally feel like in Kansas City? How do they normally play it pretty daring?
Yeah, I would call them daring. And Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, likes to play some aggressive ball. He will bring blitzes. He will play cover zero behind it, which means that nobody's getting any help. A lot of times, if you blitz, then you can have a single high safety deep in the middle to help. If somebody gets out, he can be there to kind of make that touchdown saving tackle. Cover zero means there is no safety help. Nobody's there at all. You're on your island, all by yourself. Okay, Tom Hanks, Castaway.
Wilson.
That's what you are.
Wilson.
Wilson, yeah, you're hanging out with Wilson, which is nobody. But yeah, he's a guy that will take risks. He likes bringing speed. And if you have a quarterback that has a quickness of the mind and can make the decisions quickly and can deliver the ball accurately, you could have a quarterback have a big day. And so could this be a big day for Trevor? Very well could be. Because if you're going to bring that pressure, now you're going to single Evan Ingram. You're going to single Calvin Ridley. You're going to single Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. And if the quarterback is on, you're going to pay a price.
If you can get it out, you got to block him.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, the most important component about the execution of the offense this week is that the offensive line has to take a step up. I mean, this past game, and look, for a lot of reasons that you give them an excuse. I don't want to say an excuse, but a pass, whatever you want to call it, an explanation as to why their performance wasn't where you wanted it to be. You had multiple guys that weren't playing because of injury leading up to the game. Barch was, again, coming back from an injury. The only guy that, for the most part, that was out there through the entirety of training camp was Fortner and then Sheriff. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anton Harrison, your right tackle, had a right shoulder injury. It's been bothering him. He's been in and out of practice. Walker Little missed the last preseason game for precautionary reasons because of some injury we don't really know about.
And he was splitting time in camp with Cam Robinson.
Yeah, and then Barch obviously coming back from a significant knee injury. Shatley, who had to play when Sheriff went down, hadn't practiced much in camp because of the AFib stuff. I mean, it's so a lot of reasons to explain why their performance wasn't where it needed to be. And I think they're going to get better, okay? And this week would be a great time to do that.
How do you help them?
Well, I think Trevor is really good at helping an offensive line as far as, he gets the ball out, he moves in the pocket, he feels pressure, he buys time without having to do the wiggly things that Josh Allen would term that Patrick Mahomes does. That was a great term, by the way, that he used. Yeah. He's wiggly.
Yeah, it's fair.
I was like, that's a great line.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Hey, plenty ahead. We're back in a moment. Kai Stevens will join us in studio, Jaguars reporter. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. We're told standing room tickets only for this Sunday at the bank.
69,000 plus strong.
Whew. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for the best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
I wouldn't say easy. I think it's simple to make the adjustments. It's sometimes harder to execute, but I do think that pretty much all the things are self-inflicted that we did on Sunday to put us in these bad situations. So should be able to clean those up, and we have to. You got to play cleaner than that if you expect to win. Obviously, our defense had some huge stops, but that's putting a lot of pressure on them time after time to do that and kind of bring us out of that hole, and we don't want to do that. So, you got to play cleaner, especially like we talked about playing against a team like the Chiefs this Sunday. You got to execute better than that.
That's quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, we're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, all the places today. Kai Stevens joining us in studio now, Jaguars reporter. Good afternoon, Kai.
Hello. Happy to see you guys.
Yeah, it's Chiefs week.
It's Chiefs week. It's
kind
home
of
opener week.
Kind of a big game.
I'd say so. If they can't fill the bank for that game, then they're never going to. But I know they already have sold it out, so I think we should be good.
Yeah, it should be a packed house. Great environment, obviously. Before we get into that, would you take Kelce or Gronk as your tight end?
All time?
No, as your tight end, if you're building
in their prime.
Gronk.
One or the other. You're taking Gronk?
Yeah, can't cover Gronk. No one could drag him down when he was healthy.
Right.
Yes.
He was banged up a lot.
Healthy prime, Gronk.
He still scored 90-something touchdowns when he was hurt all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but he only had 4 1,000-yard seasons. Kelsey's had 7 now and counting.
He's also got how many Super Bowl rings to go with that?
Travis
Gronk?
got 2.
And was in 2 other ones, yeah. That they lost.
It's like 2 of the greatest all time. I mean, it's like you wouldn't go wrong either way.
Yes, I think
Gronk's a better blocker. I will say that.
Gronk was always impressive to me because he's not fast, but he still would no one could bring him. It was like 2 people would have to tackle him, to get him down.
Right.
So
Once
that alone, he would just drag people with him.
Right. And once he got a full head of steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, he's not slow. I don't mean that. I just mean in terms of like he's not outrunning anybody. So like he'll get out and get open, but then he'll drag 2 people with him another 20 yards. So I would definitely take Gronk.
It's a great debate, though. I mean,
when he's all said and done, it'll be probably Kelce, depending how much longer he plays. But
yeah, if he plays another 5 years at this level, I mean, come on.
I think if you
Gronk
can
played
take
11 years.
Right. If you can take out the injuries and have prime Gronk, I would have Gronk.
Great debate.
Yeah.
I don't know. In today's day and age of passing league.
Also a point of, I mean, it depends what kind of scheme you're in. It depends who your quarterback is.
Yeah,
it depends if it's 2023 or 2010.
Modern day, I'm taking Kelce.
Well, all I know is the Jaguars get to line up across from him this week, and it hasn't gone especially well against him the last 2 times. Last time it was, kind of chipping down the field. 14 catches in the game, still under 100 yards, 2 touchdowns in the playoff game. But if he's out there, no matter if he's 100% or not, he's a primary target for number 15.
I am curious how much we'll see him, though, because if he does, obviously it sounds like it might be a game-time decision at this point. I know he's been practicing, but how much will we actually see him play? Because if he is banged up a little bit, I mean, that's a pain issue, of course, and with all the other people that seem to be dropping balls, you're going to want to see, they're going to want to have him out there as much as they can, but is Patrick Mahomes going to be able to trust some of those guys that had the dropsies last week? I mean, he'll have to, but it's easier said than done when you're out there and you're trying to find somebody down the field.
Yeah, I think it's going to be – if Kelce's out there, he's full go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if he's not going to be out there, we're going to kind of limit him or something like that. He's been around the game too long, I think, to be used in that fashion and all the dropsies you're talking about, Kadarius Toney.
Poor guy,
That guy had a rough go of it.
Felt bad for him. 4 drops, 4 big ones.
Well, he had – and that's – Andy Reid talked about it this week. He said, that's not his thing. He's got sure hands and this past game or a week ago, that was his game. Not a good one. But here's the reality. You go and look at he had the worst rating of a wide receiver by PFF in week 1. The second worst rated running back was Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
Bigsby had one of those days too. Where he had the fumble and then the ball off his hands and leads to an interception. But you sit there and you go, well, he's a rookie. Kadarius Toney, what is in like year 4?
No, not even that old. Yeah,
is it year 3 or 4?
Maybe 3. It's not long. It's not
year
that
3.
Long.
Yeah, year 3.
So
it's just tough when it's in prime time because then that's all anybody's gonna remember of you for a while.
And speaking of that. That's why the Jawan Taylor situation blew up, the right tackle.
I obviously was not here last year, so it's the first I've seen of this situation. And I was like, oh. And then everyone I came to work, they're like, oh, did you see that? They finally talked about Jawan Taylor. We've been talking about that for years. So I assume you guys were already up on that.
Forever.
We didn't talk about it much because he was on the Jaguars.
Well, he's on our team, and we weren't going to complain about it. But the reality is that he did the same thing wearing teal, but because the Jaguars stunk, essentially for the early part of his tenure, it didn't garner any attention. Well, then he goes to a Super Bowl champion team, and then it's going to become front page and center for everybody to watch. And I guarantee you there's a reaction by the league this week. Guarantee you.
In which regard? The lining up behind the rear end of the center part or the getting the jump on the snap part or both?
When you watch the film, the timing, he's almost always on spot on. Is it?
That's a
is
lot
it
pretty good
technically
about that.
A lot of it's the lining up.
I don't know if it technically is a penalty. Yeah, it's the lining up where he's like 2 feet behind everybody else. I think
that's
that would be
where
the breaking of the rule. He is immaculate with the timing. Like even when you slow down and it's frame by frame, it's like he's on the money. So I don't even know if that's anything you can catch.
Me, I've slowed it down for like the first 4 years of his career.
Yeah.
Is he timing it up? Yeah. And he's really good at it. Every now and again he'll be a little early. Okay, but an official, it's got to be really obvious for them to throw the flag on that. But the alignment thing, it's not even a question.
He's far behind, and he's also like off to the side as well.
The rule is that you have to be able to break the plane of the belt of the center. Okay, he's not even touching the outer cheek
by the belt
of the center.
The belt, so not the rear end. It's where the actual belt is.
It's got to
so
be
the back a little bit,
the like the mid hip belt
How about
area
that?
Somewhere in that. It's got to
That's not even close.
He's not even breaking the plane of the end of the cheeks of the center.
No.
Okay, not even close.
Not even one cheek. Both cheeks, no cheeks.
It's not all the time. I mean, it's occasionally that he is so far back. And last week, he obviously wanted to have that advantage because he's going against a marvelous player in Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
And that's a huge advantage for a tackle if he can line up that deep. I mean, as a pass rusher, one of the great things that you always want is the ability to threaten the upfield shoulder of a tackle. And if he can line up another 1.5 yards or a half a yard deeper, it takes away the advantage of trying to get the corner on the guy. You can't get it.
Crowd noise will be big this week.
Here's hoping.
It would be nice to give them some more issues on the offensive line this week, right?
You hope. And here's the thing. Kansas City, they went out and they've got 2 entirely new tackles. Donovan Smith, formerly of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then obviously Juwan at right tackle. The 3 inside guys are really good. I mean, really good. Joe Tooney, who came from New England, at left guard. He was a top 5 guard for the last couple of years. And then the center, Creed Humphrey, might be one of the best 3 centers in all of football. They got one in Philadelphia, who's Kelce's brother, and Jason Kelce. And then the guy in Baltimore from Iowa is another one that's right there at the top. I can't remember his name. Good football player. The Jaguars really liked him coming out in the draft. And then at right guard, Trey Smith's a good football player too. So, I mean, this might be the best group of 3 when you talk about guard, center that the Jaguars will face.
Looking forward to the matchup for sure. And, the Chiefs have a couple running backs too, by the way. If they choose to go that route, this Jaguars defense, though, can be up to the task in the run game. All access tonight. What you got?
We got the big man coming through, Roy Robertson-Harris.
Speaking of stopping the run, hey, come on. Big Roy up front. That'll be fun.
He's always a good time, so I'm excited to see him.
Defensive captain? Right?
I know. Is this first year as captain here, right? Yeah, that's great. I'm not surprised. I mean, he's certainly a leader and vocally, and he's truly he's so kind and he's so nice, but he truly is one of those people when he's like on the field ready for the game, you're like, I get out of the way. Like he really does, I think, flip a switch to a different human being. So I just stay out of his way. So he's about as intimidating as it gets for me.
He is a big, strong dude. I mean, big, strong dude. When you watch the battles of some of the best, most powerful offensive linemen in football, Roy can handle them. I mean, I'm talking handle them. The one guy last week, Quentin Nelson. Okay, everybody thinks he's great, he's strong, he's great. Roy handles him. Like, he comes off on Roy and Roy's like, yeah, got you. It's all good. And Roy doesn't struggle against anybody, power-wise. I don't know where he generates his strength from, but he is a man's man when it comes to power, playing the game with power.
We'll get you to see that up close and personal tonight at String Sports Brewery, 7 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Different station tonight. I think there's some coverage on Fox somewhere else. I think it's on CBS tonight.
I think you're correct. I think it is on CBS.
I stumped Logs with that. He didn't have any idea.
You did.
He had no idea.
It's okay. We're up on it, Logs. It's okay.
I was like, yeah, you're right, JP.
Yeah, whatever you say. I'll be at Strings.
I'll be there.
Kai, we'll see you. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Kai Stevens joining us, Jaguars reporter from Jaguars.com. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. The injury report coming up. Then at 5 o'clock, head coach Doug Pederson in studio with us on the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your Workforce Solutions Reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Everyone wins when 2 great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Jaguars fans, Everbank is building its future on the partnership and the performance you know and trust. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars today for your financial advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans. You expect Jags fans to say, Duval. You expect the Beard Stadium's going to be cold, the dogs will be hot, but what you don't expect is an airport hotel with a renovated inviting lobby, a cool bar, and crowded restaurant, or 10,000 square feet of space just waiting for your next family or business event. At the Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you should always expect to be surprised. Book online or call 1-877-2-CROWN. That's 1-877-227-6963.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water. It's worth saving. Thanks to Kai Stevens. I'm JP Shadrick. Jeff Lageman alongside Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Coming up in, about 13 minutes and change, 12 minutes and change. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. The Jaguars head coach will be in studio with us and coming off a 10-point road divisional win and facing his former boss again, Andy Reid. Looking forward to hearing from Doug coming up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of hear from that standpoint. You know, when you go up against the teacher, so to speak, you always want to win, and Doug hasn't beaten Andy in 3 tries so far, and it's never just a one-on-one battle, okay, between coaches. It's teams. But there's nothing better, I'm sure, than beating the teacher if you are the student.
No doubt. I mean,
right?
After that long, right, you learned almost everything you know as an NFL coach from him.
If you've got a competitive fiber in your being, you want to beat the man that you worked for, the man that helped groom you, the man that helped shape you. And it would go a long way towards kind of establishing this football team in the conversation of one of the best teams in the AFC. And, last year, when they ended up 9-8 at the end of the year, won a division, kind of came back and ended up winning a bunch of games there towards the end. We were like, yeah, this is great. Okay, well, if you take that next step, okay, now instead of being happy and surprised by winning, you expect to win. And you can tell that that's a very distinct change from last year at this point to where we are right now. They expect to win.
You heard it from, if you watched any of the sounds of the game, I mean, Trevor Lawrence in the tunnel before they ran out to warm up before the game. It's like, expect it. We're here. This is not negotiable, basically. He didn't say that exactly, but he said, expect it.
That's
Go
right.
win.
That's right. And he is so mature beyond his years. I mean, it's just it's a joy to watch. And I don't know. And look, there's been some other 23-year-old quarterbacks that have played really well, Patrick Mahomes being one of them. But the maturity level that Trevor shows is, I think it's impeccable. And that's hard to find. I mean, for him to be able to bounce back after one of the worst lost years in franchise history, for him to be able to bounce back from that kind of unharmed was, I think, tremendous.
Well, let's continue to see it between the lines on Sundays. Just keep building them as they go along. That's where you'll really see the results of that come through.
You know what I want to watch? I want to try. You know, look, we were talking earlier about how Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, is pretty aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he likes to gamble a little bit. When I say gamble, he's not afraid to blitz. Okay, if you blitz, then that means you're leaving a weakened coverage, because it's kind of you have to choose one or the other. Do you leave extra guys in coverage, or do you send extra guys trying to pressure the quarterback? Or you can try to play it balanced. He likes to bring extra in the rush package. So that means that you're going to have a little depleted coverage. So if you're going to be depleted, probably going to end up playing man. Who's going to cover Ridley? Who's going to cover Ingram? I think they have better options at covering Ingram. This is a game that I believe Christian Kirk can have a big game.
Right.
If you think about the games last year, how many throws were just so close to connecting?
And he still put up numbers even without those.
Yes. I think this is going to be, and having a game in which he had 3 targets, only 1 catch in Indianapolis, and Trevor didn't even see him open a couple times. Look, you gotta function within the offense as a quarterback, okay? But then there's also times where, hey, look, it's my guy, right? I got to make sure I get something to my guy. I wouldn't be surprised if early in this ball game it's now that's my sound.
Is that what it's going to sound like?
That's like, the gun, Trevor throwing the bullet.
It doesn't even sound like a gun.
It's not?
Sound like a crunchy shoulder. That's not a good sound at all.
Trevor hitting Christian Kirk easily. No, even better? Is that better?
A little, yeah.
A little better?
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking forward to it because I don't think the Chiefs can cover him. I don't. And I think that's going to be an opponent's problem every week.
But because the Chiefs understand what they have on the offensive side in Mahomes and the play caller and weapons, whatever weapons are around him, right? They feel like they're going to get their 30 points per game. So
they didn't get it last week.
But in theory, they feel like they're going to get their 30 points per game on offense. That's why they can take risks on defense and maybe try for a takeaway, get a sack, fumble. All you need is a couple stops in theory.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Last game, okay, Kansas City played Detroit. Detroit just played coverage. They didn't do anything fancy to stop Patrick Mahomes. They just sat back and played his own. Mm-hmm. And they weren't worried about Kansas City. I think they were more worried about Patrick Mahomes scrambling and doing that more so than they were worried about anything else.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I was surprised. Watching that film, I'm like, man, I can't believe they played that much zone. Because, your first instinct is, with all the losses that Kansas City has had from a weapon standpoint, Tyreek Hill, okay, Juju Smith-Schuster, you're losing guys. And especially the first game when they don't have Kelce. You wouldn't be afraid to play a man, right? Detroit was like, nah, we're just going to play zone. And they played Kansas City in zone and held them to, 20 points?
Yeah.
And here I don't think, if you talk about matchups, I think the Jaguars' defense matches up against Kansas City, against their offense very well, with the exception of Patrick Mahomes, because nobody matches up against him very well. He's that good. But, from an individual standpoint, you look at the weapons that they have, Kelce being the only exception. Okay, everybody else you're okay with. I think you can handle those guys. And I think that the Chiefs have a matchup problem with the Jaguars. I think most teams are going to have a matchup problem with the Jaguars.
High scoring sounds like to me.
If what would be your prediction right now, score-wise? Total points score.
I'm going to go 38-35 final.
I'm thinking like 70 points.
Yep.
Somewhere in that range. I mean,
in the 30s, at least.
The only thing that may prohibit 70 points is just the heat of the game.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit out. But, I mean, I think this is like 70 points. I mean, this is like a game in the 30s.
Time now for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Thursday report for the Jags is out. Have not seen one for the Chiefs as of yet. The Jaguars have 5 players on the list this week. Antonio Johnson has not practiced yesterday or today, the rookie safety. It could be a week or so, a couple weeks maybe. We'll see how that goes. Gregory Jr. was injured in the game with a hamstring issue, has not practiced yesterday or today. Brandon Sheriff, right guard, ankle injury, limited today. That's improvement. He did not practice on Wednesday. He was back out there on Thursday. Luke Fortner, center, ankle injury, limited today. He was out yesterday. That's improvement. Tyler Lacey, the rookie defensive lineman with a hip issue, limited. So that's good news for the offensive linemen. Sheriff and Fortner moving in the right direction, at least maybe, to go on Sunday.
Well, you hope. But you want them to be able to play, but then also play better. They've got to take a step up this week. And Sheriff, I was kind of concerned about during that game. He goes down, and it was like, phew.
Just the way he went down, like up in the air and then wasn't moving, and everybody's waving for the athletic trainers. It's like, oh, man.
This is really bad, right? That's
they carted him off.
Yeah, carted him off.
And then he comes back in the game.
And then he's limited in practice today.
Right.
I mean, first of all, he's incredibly tough because he was able to play last year with a core injury that most people wouldn't even think about trying to play. But he was able to play. I mean, so he's tough. And he's definitely a leader of that group. And if they're going to take a step up, then, he needs to be a part of that. But, I hope that everybody's good to go so that they can take a step up in performance this week.
Got to have it this week, and what a scene it should be. And we'll hear from Doug Pederson coming up on that scene as well. Home opener for the Jaguars, the Doug Pederson Show moments ahead. We're going to hear from Ian Eagle as well, NFL on CBS play-by-play announcer. He and Charles Davis have the call of the game. Evan Washburn on the sideline. We'll hear from Ian and get his thoughts on where the Jaguars are. Are they ready for the big time? Well, this would be a step in the right direction. We'll hear from
Who's he calling the game with?
Charles Davis.
Okay, Charles, good guy.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time.
Absolutely.
I met him in New York back in '89.
It's probably back.
It's been a while.
That makes sense. Yep.
He's been around a long time too. He's good, very good broadcaster.
Yeah, full podcast coming up, I believe, Saturday on the official Jaguars podcast network. We'll get Ian's thoughts. He's covered so many Jaguars games over the years. Been with CBS since 1998, which is hard to believe. He's the reigning Sportscaster of the Year, National Sportscaster of the Year.
Wow.
Well. So
Impressive.
He's had a big year, a lot going on for him.
What team would this be considered for CBS?
Probably the number 2 team.
Number 2?
Nance and Romo are number 1 with Tracy Wilson.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just kind of curious about that. Yep. And where are they at this week?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Because there's no
– I have no idea.
The reason I asked that is because the game's on CBS.
Yeah.
And there's no affiliation with AFC and CBS or Fox and the NFC anymore. Everybody's kind of going all over the place. And so I was just kind of curious, would it be a Fox game that Romo would be at?
No. They're still on CBS, but they're doing Jets Cowboys.
Excuse me, but Jets Cowboys. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
An NFC
Jets
team.
at Cowboys,
which I'm sure they're sitting there going, Jets Cowboys. There's no Aaron Rodgers, but it's America's team.
It is.
They get big ratings, and it's a New York market.
And they're 1-0. They beat the hell out of the Giants.
Did you watch that game Monday night?
I watched about half of it, and then I was like, what am I doing? Why am I watching this?
Would you have watched the whole thing if Aaron Rodgers played?
No, I'm talking about the Cowboys game.
No, I'm talking about the Jets game Monday night. Did you watch that game?
Well, I turned it on after the fact. I didn't have it on at first.
Same here. I didn't get it on until after the fact as well.
And then I turned it off.
Total bummer that he went down.
Yeah. Crazy game at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got an instant classic this Sunday coming up.
I hope so. For from our perspective.
A winning result would be nice.
Yeah,
out of
our
that
perspective.
As well. Hey, stay tuned. The Doug Pederson Show is coming up in mere moments. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show.
Brought to you by Fresh from Florida.
JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome into the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson in studio with us. It is week 2, the home opener. The champs are coming to town, the Kansas City Chiefs. They've now won 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls. They've hosted 5 straight AFC championship games. We saw them twice last year. Coach, they're the team to beat if you want to take over the AFC, right?
It's a daunting task, but if you want to be one of the guys standing at the end, you got to beat these types of football teams. And this is a well-coached team, great leadership on the football team. They got some great skill and ability, as we know. We got a couple players back from different situations that probably give them a little boost right now. But look, it's a good football team all around, and it's going to take a really good effort on our part. I guess the thing that's going for us, too, is we have familiarity with them, having played them twice last year, and felt like we had opportunity in both games, particularly the playoff game, to do some things. But, you just can't make mistakes in order to beat teams like this.
Well, and the great thing is that you get them at home. And I'm sure that this place is going to be absolutely rocking on Sunday.
That's the best part, right? And hopefully a little bit warm, for the guys coming in here. But we're excited. It should be a great electric crowd. Looking forward to that. We, obviously feeding off the last 2 football games a year ago, playoff type atmospheres, and that's kind of what we expect. And we hope that's the way and that's the case. And really looking forward to this matchup, Sunday afternoon.
We did a show with Bucky Brooks. You might have heard of him the other day. And he talked about competitive stamina. And that's what this Chiefs team seems to have. Late in games, they get better. You talked about it this week. They get better as it goes along. But in those big moments late in the fourth quarter, they can elevate their game. How can you take the Jaguars team to match that this week?
It's a big phrase for Bucky. But, that's where we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to that level. I think our team is really – we've learned it, but now we've got to prove it week in and week out, and especially in games like this. This is only week 2, but this could potentially have implications for January, right? When you're talking postseason. So, yes, they know how to elevate as the game goes on. They can elevate their play. Chris Jones seems to get a little bit warmer as the game goes on, and if he needs a sack, guess what? He's going to go get a sack. And if Patrick Mahomes needs to make a play, he's going to make a play. So that's what we're trying to do. I think our guys are headed in that direction, and that sustainability, right? We've learned how to win. We've learned how to overcome some adversity to win, and those are all things in our favor right now.
You mentioned that Kansas City has kind of figured out how to win and the competitive stamina Bucky talks about. It's crazy to think that Patrick Mahomes has never had a playoff game away from Arrowhead Stadium. And you mentioned about how this game can impact what happens down the road. I mean, there it is right there. Get them out of their home place.
You're absolutely right. And, they're so good. That crowd is so loud up there in Kansas City. And obviously the players feed off of that. And it makes it a challenge for visiting teams to go in there. And obviously, we're accustomed to that, having gone there twice last year. So getting them here in front of our crowd, on a Sunday afternoon, that's the part that we're most excited about. Playing a not only the world champion but a playoff caliber football team this early in the season again is a good little benchmark for our football team.
Watching the film on them every year with Patrick Mahomes at the helm, you have to worry about what he does on schedule, But then you have to worry about the next play, which is when things go off schedule and he just starts doing the Patrick Mahomes thing. Is that one of the most challenging aspects of him?
It's one of the hardest things to really to do to defend a guy like Pat Mahomes. I mean, he's so good off schedule, as you mentioned. You know, the ability to scramble, the ability to get out of sacks. We had him wrapped up a few times last year in the playoff game, and he got out of those and made some plays for them. You know, and it's just it's got to. Thing is with quarterbacks like this, you've got to stay completely disciplined in your rush lanes, right? The second you dip inside, he's going outside, or you get too high, he's going to step up, and you got to collapse the pocket the best way you can and work your games and things of that nature and pressure him just a little bit. And then, you know, the back end when he scrambles, they've got that plaster technique, right? They've got to find a receiver and just stick with them, and ultimately 87 seems to be the guy that wiggles loose, and you know, we've got to have a plan and be prepared for that.
Yeah. How do you begin to plan for that? He had 14 catches in the playoff game last year, but they weren't big, long, break-it-open catches. It was just down the field. When those big, open, down-the-field catches come, that's when the game can get away from you, right?
Exactly. You look at that. One of the touchdowns last year was just a nice little dump pass back inside, you know, and we over-pursued just a little bit, and he runs in for the touchdown. So, you know, yeah, they're not big, you know, back-breaking type plays, but at the same time, those are chain movers, and it keeps their offense on the field. And so we've got to do a great job, stay disciplined, as we mentioned, and really execute our plan.
You spent 11 years with Andy Reid. Do you have maybe a sense or a feel for what his play calling would be in a game like this, to where you could have a conversation with Mike Caldwell, hey, this is probably what he's thinking?
Yeah, there's certain situations, you know, in the game that you kind of have an idea what he's thinking. You know, of course, you know, he's changed a little bit from the days that we've spent together. But, you know, he as the game progresses, he's great about collecting information, and he's going to use formations, motions, shifts, where's the tight end, where's the back. He's going to gather all this information early in a football game and then use that to his advantage, obviously, late in the football game. So whatever he has dialed up in his game plan, you know, early, you're not going to see a ton out of him early. It's later in the game, and really when they start catching steam is late in the football game, and it's because of the information that he's gathered early on, you know, in those ball games.
Calvin Ridley was not in these games last year. So what does the addition of Calvin do? And this could be really for a lot of games this year, but certainly against this Chiefs team. How does that change as a play caller, as an offensive mindset for this team against the Chiefs? They haven't seen him before. They've got to figure that out, right?
Exactly right. And you know, we feel like we're a pretty good football team as well, and so they have to defend, you know, our skill and ability on offense. And you know, obviously looking at what Calvin did, you know, last week against the Colts is something they'll have to, you know, pay attention to. But, you know, it does open up a different level of down the field, you know, with the speed that Calvin has. And you know, we were able to get behind this Chiefs defense, you know, a year ago, and just it came up just off the fingertips of Christian the one time. And, you know, I thought Zay had some ability to get in behind and make some big plays down the stretch. So, you know, there's enough there that you know that they have to account for, obviously. And you know, Spags is I was in the same division with Spags, you know, in the NFC East for so many years, and coached against him for a long time, so kind of have a feel for him as well. But, you know, we just made too many mistakes. We made too many protection errors, you know, again, and some of it's directly related to the crowd noise in Kansas City and not being able to hear and see some of the points and different things like that. So those are the things that we have to clean up as an offense. And then defensively, it's all about communication.
Yeah, you mentioned Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, is who you're referring to. He's kind of known for having this aggressive style of defense, and just kind of want to bring this up because, you know, you mentioned, you know, just off the outstretched fingertips of Christian Kirk. Because he's aggressive, there are opportunities down the field, right? There are, and you know, and obviously he uses his personnel extremely well. He's got a great young secondary that's just ascending, in my opinion. Two young, good linebackers, and of course Chris Jones up front. I think him and 91 are two really good interior pass rushers. They're young on the edge, but I think that they're pretty decent there. But, you know, Spags has been aggressive. You look at the Detroit game, you know, a week ago Thursday, and
you see the pressure, you see the zero blitz, you see 4 from a side, so he's constantly just throwing wrinkles at you. Go back and watch the Super Bowl against the Eagles. I mean, he's blitzing, he's playing zero, and then he's playing coverage. So again, there are opportunities, and when they're there, we've got to make the most of them.
I mentioned earlier that you spent 11 years with Andy Reid. What's the greatest thing you learned from him in 11 years, whether it been as a player or as a coach?
I'm going to tell you, over those 11 years, just Andy's always just Andy. He's the same guy every single day, and I think that's something that I tried to be, in my days as a coach, head coach, and obviously here is just trying to be the same person every single day. And he loves to be around the players. That's why Kansas City has been a great spot for him since Philadelphia, because he really loves to be around the guys and coach football. And it's something that's, when you're inside the ropes, so to speak, to see it, it's pretty special. And he's a big family guy. He's got grandchildren of his own, and he loves to have them around the facility and the building, and loves to be Andy Reid. But just him being him, was one of the biggest things that I've taken away from him.
All right, Doug, final thought. Knocking off the Chiefs, I guess, would send an early message around the league. I'm not so sure if you're into that part of it. It is still week 2. There's a lot of football left as well. But you talked about it earlier. I mean, for seeding later, if it comes down to that, this game is vital when they start handing out playoff seeds. So where's the balance there? It's week 2, a lot of football left, but this could mean a lot down the road too. It
does. And number one thing is we got to improve from week 1. There was enough mistakes in week 1 that if we don't fix, this game could go sideways in a hurry. And, so our guys have been dialed in on that this week. And but you're absolutely right. We've just got to come in there. We can't worry about them. We got to continue to focus and prepare for us, and eliminate the mistakes and the penalties and some of the silly things that showed up in week 1, and go out and compete. And you look at our early schedule. There's 2 AFC teams anyway. This one and the Bills that could potentially have postseason implications. So we got to do the best job we can to try to get the upper hand if possible.
Doug, tie breaks in head-to-head.
Exactly right. I don't want to go to either place in January or February.
No, have them come back down here, that's for sure. Doug, thanks for the time. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you so much.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us, and the Chiefs-Jaguars game is presented by Everbank. Advantage you. Make the most of your money at everbank.com/Jaguars. Plenty more ahead, previewing the Chiefs and the Jags, plus Ian Eagle of CBS Sports in about 15 minutes. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Jaguars fans, Everbank is building its future on the partnership and the performance you know and trust. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars today for your financial advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Flight by Yuengling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yuengling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And we're inside the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. The Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida, rolls along. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in studio. Getting ready for week 2. A lot to gather out of that conversation, Logs. But let's start with the last part there. He's not scared of the playoff word and the seeding implications that come with a game like this. He's been there and done that. But I think around these parts, it's a little foreign to be talking about the playoffs in week 2, right? This is a different mindset, and you got to get used to it.
Well, and it's great because, I mean, it shows confidence. It shows that there's a belief in this football team. And, the reality is that it could have a part in what happens down the road, but it's down the road. And there's a lot of football to play between now and then. But there's nothing wrong with talking about it. Because I think if you talk about it in the right context, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that Doug is talking about it in the right context, that it could have some type of impact on us down the road.
Because they feel like they're a playoff team. They're not shying away. Hey, we're going to go to the playoffs. We're going to be in that mix, right? Well, if you're going to be in that mix, you might as well have the home field to go with it too, right? And a game like this could come in handy.
Well, and
in that regard.
Well, especially with Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's been competing from the comfort of home over the last 5 years with Patrick Mahomes. It's amazing that they have never had a road playoff game with Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
I mean, the only time that they've ever been on the road has been a Super Bowl. Me and you and Brian Sexton were talking about that earlier today. That's incredible that Patrick Mahomes has never had a playoff game away from Arrowhead Stadium unless it's been a Super Bowl. That's crazy. So if you're going to take the king down, so to speak, what better opportunity than to get the king out of his kingdom to have that game?
Chiefs Kingdom? That's what they call it.
Well, I mean, I know.
Yeah, I thought you were playing on words.
That's a tough place to play, man. That's a tough place to play.
Absolutely it is.
And if you get it here, then you got the home field advantage, just like you had for the playoff game last year against the Chargers and the playoff atmosphere that you had against Tennessee. I mean, how big of an advantage was it in those 2 games? Huge.
Another point, that's fine and all that's out there, but they've just got to get better from last week. It is just one step forward in a 17-game progression. It's from week 1 to week 2. What kind of improvement do you expect from this Jags team?
I think there's first of all, the early part of the season on offense is still a work in progress because you're not, you don't have a ton of reps in the preseason. And then you also don't have a lot of reps with all the starters intact, whether it be for injury or whatever. And I think let's start with the offensive line. The more reps that they get together, the more time they have on task, the better they're going to be. And that will allow everybody else to be better, more time for Trevor in the pocket, clearer windows to see through, ability to deliver the ball more accurately because his footwork can be cleaner. So, I mean, I think that all of those things will naturally get better. Trevor will be better in week 2. I thought early in the game, I made a comment in our broadcast that I thought he was amped up. I was watching him warm up on the sideline, and you could kind of tell that he had this energy, and sometimes it's hard because opening games are always like that. I mean, you don't have a pulse if you're not amped for the first game. And then you learn to kind of bring it back down in the second game and bring it back down to a reasonable level. And so I think Trevor will be better early in game 2 as opposed to early in game 1. I think the execution, the knowledge of where you need to be, for example, on the 4th and 1. Okay, you have that throw to Evan Ingram. It's like a little tight end quick throw, and you get 2 tight ends out in front and block, right? I think this week you'll have a more decisive blocking out in front of Evan Ingram to where you can convert that 4th and 1 without any issue. I mean, all of those things I think are opportunities to get cleaned up. The great thing about that game in Indianapolis is that it was back and forth. It was nerve-wracking, but you ended up winning by 10. But how many teaching moments did you have in that game because it was back and forth, and sometimes there was a moment of, oh, my gosh, they could lose. You were thinking that.
That's true.
And so when you have a game like that,
yes, that's right.
Players listen when I think players listen more intently when you lose because they don't want to lose. But when they win, but then they felt like they haven't played their best and they understand that they weren't at their best, they're more apt to listen as well. And so I think it's a good opportunity for this team to learn from it and get better in week 2.
Let's come back in a moment. We'll take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense a little bit. And coming up in a little bit, we'll hear from Ian Eagles, CBS Sports. That's right around the corner. Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
In partnership with Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, any Jaguars ticket holders who are unable to attend a Jaguars home game can donate their future tickets to a Jacksonville area first responder. Visit jaguars.com/members and click Manage Account. Sign into your account and click Manage Tickets and Parking. Select the game tickets, click on the More button, and then choose to donate to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Firehouse Subs is dedicated to impacting the life-saving capabilities and the lives of local heroes and communities. For more information, visit firehousesubsfoundation.org.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. He joins us in the opening 10, 15 minutes or so of the show each and every week. Glad to have him. And he dropped some today. He dropped some knowledge on us. This Chiefs-Jaguars matchup is close to it. It's personal for him, I think, just because of the head coach across the field from him and everything that goes with that. And, you know, for this Jaguars team, too, you might hear it different ways from different players. Some guys are saying, oh, it's just the next game. But some guys, yeah, you know what? This Chiefs team beat them twice last year and knocked them out of the playoffs. There's something to that.
Well, there is, and look, there's a relationship with Andy Reid, as you could tell. And before we went on the air, I asked him. I said, do you talk to Andy, a week like this? And he's like, no.
Right.
So I said, is there maybe other weeks that you would talk to Andy that you're not playing him? He goes, yeah, they're definitely. Then he goes, but this week, no.
No, not when they're playing each other, for sure.
But it was also interesting that I asked him about what's the greatest thing that you've ever learned from Andy Reid, of all those years together. And he said, just that Andy was always himself. He didn't try to be anything else. And that means that Andy is a genuine person. And I think that coaches that stay genuine and true to who they are, their message can reach the players and they can lead that way. The ones that try to be something they're not, there's a guy in Vegas that first time around in Denver, tried to be something he wasn't. Josh McDaniels, hopefully he's learned from that experience and just tries to be himself in Las Vegas from now on. But I mean, that's a great lesson learned for Doug, is that be yourself and be true to yourself, and that's awesome.
By the way, with a win on Sunday, Andy Reid would move to 270 wins all time, regular season and playoffs combined. That would tie him for fourth in the history of the league with Tom Landry.
Wow.
Don Shula, 347, Bill Belichick, 329, George Halas, 324.
Pretty cool at Cowboys Stadium.
Let's make that 2 weeks from now, by the way.
AT&T Stadium, whatever you call it. You got the retired jersey numbers that are up there, And
the Ring of Honor.
And the Ring of Honor, the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, whatever they call it. Everybody has a different name for it. And with Tom Landry, they got the silhouette of the hat.
Yeah, that's right.
The famous hat.
No doubt. There's that great shot on NFL films of just his silhouette with the backlit stadium behind him. And you know exactly who it is.
Well, because you had the window in the roof of the stadium so God could shine down on the Cowboys.
That's right.
And that provided that backlit picture for that moment. And Tom Landry was a great coach. And, I mean, I grew up a Washington Redskin fan back when they were called that. Yep. And so some of the games against the Cowboys were legendary when the Cowboys were really good and the Redskins had a couple good years in there as well.
Well, let's hold the celebration for a couple weeks, Andy. How about that?
I'm all for that.
The Jaguars win this week.
Yeah, you don't ever want to have a kind of a landmark occasion event happen on your watch.
When we return, we'll hear from Ian Eagle, CBS Sports. He has the call of the game this week on CBS, and we'll get his thoughts on the Jaguars' resurgence and if they're ready for the big stage this Sunday. That's next on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman back shortly. Ian Eagle is the reigning National Sportscaster of the Year from the National Sports Media Association. And he's been with the NFL on CBS since 1998, and I caught up with him this week. He has the call of the game this Sunday with Charles Davis in the booth with him. And I asked him if the Jaguars are ready for the big time.
You get certain games over the course of a season that feel a little different. And in this league, you're always chasing something. So in the case of Jacksonville, you're chasing the Chiefs. You're You're chasing greatness. You're chasing stability. You're chasing credibility. And even in the case of Kansas City, they're chasing history. So it never stops. Even if you win a championship, you still feel pressure to perform and hit a certain standard. I think the difference that you feel with this Jacksonville team this year is that the standard is higher and the expectations are higher, and rightfully so. They've proven to be a team that are going to turn some heads over the course of the season, and now it's certain games along the way where people will make judgments and form opinions on you, and this is one of those games. There's no getting around it.
How different are the Chiefs if Kelce can't go? How different of an offense are they? It doesn't feel like they're as explosive as they were a couple years ago.
Yeah, they definitely don't have the game breakers that they've had in the past. Of course, Tyreek Hill, even McCole Hardman. You had some guys that could wreck a game, and you just don't get that same mystique around the Chiefs offense that they once had. Now, I would tell you their running game is probably a little more effective because Pacheco is a punishing runner. And if you get a lead, which Patrick Mahomes is certainly capable of doing for the Chiefs, they can milk clock. They can wear you down with his physical running style, angry style. So it might be a little bit more of that compared to what we saw in previous years with the Chiefs. Here's the thing with Andy Reid. He's a problem solver on offense. He's going to figure some things out. We recognize that he's very creative, and if you give him enough time, he will sort through the issues. So the idea that anyone's figured out the Chiefs now after week 1 against Detroit, I don't buy into it. They have been able to reinvent themselves a number of times, even in their 2 Super Bowl wins. It wasn't done in the same exact fashion. So this is a Kansas City team that usually figures it out when the smoke clears.
The coaching matchup, of course, Pederson's been with Andy Reid since he was a player in Green Bay, going back that far, and has been an assistant with him, obviously. But now Reid's a win away from tying Tom Landry on the all-time wins list. That's pretty remarkable. But seeing their styles, that's obviously the bulk of where Doug Pederson's coaching ideas, style, mindset of how to build an organization came from. But at some point, you got to go beat him. Right? He hasn't beat him yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of this evolution of being a coach is odds are you're going to probably go against your mentor at some point if you've been in this league long enough. This particular relationship, I think, is even more unique just based on the fact that their relationship goes back to the coach-player day. So they really know one another. They know every aspect. They know each other at different points of their respective lives, personally, professionally. Doug is fairly straightforward when you talk to him about this stuff. He doesn't mince words. He learned how to be a real NFL coach from Andy Reid. And that's not taking anything away from others that may have mentored him in his life. It's just the bulk of his knowledge base is from Andy Reid, and not just how to call a game or how to install an offense, but how to run a program. And I think, to me, you're around it every single day, so you get the minutia. I parachute in, parachute out. What stands out to me now with Jacksonville is the professionalism in which this team is run. And that doesn't happen in every situation where a new coach and new assistants and a whole new concept comes in. Culture is a big deal. And from day one, you just felt a very seismic shift from Doug Pederson taking over the program and changing the vibe. And it's not a simple fix. It usually takes a while. With Doug, it was immediate because he knew how to do it. He had done it before and he had been around it for so long. And a lot of that does have to do with Andy Reid and, of course, Doug, and just his personal touch and his bedside manner and the way in which he treats people, his staff members, his players, people within the organization that have nothing to do with football. That's just Doug as a human being, and it's gone a long way in bringing credibility to this franchise again.
What kind of early season salvo would this be if the Jaguars pulled it off around the NFL? Or it's week 2, right? There's a lot of football left.
It is, but you saw the reaction that Detroit got after getting a week 1 win. I just think there's validation that comes with knocking off whoever's at the mountaintop. And that's part of being the defending Super Bowl champion is you're going to get everybody's best effort every single week because they know if you beat the defending champs, that following week in your facility, there's something else happening. You feel something. You feel like we belong, quote unquote. And that's a big part of this game is, does that permeate around your practice facility, through your offices? There's something about the NFL that's different than any other sport based on the fact that you only play once a week and you win, you feel the reverberations of that. You lose, you feel that too. It's hard to get that taste out of your mouth. You do it against, quote unquote, the best team in the NFL, potentially. It's layered. And I think it would mean a lot for Jacksonville to get a win like this and for their program. Just to remind everybody that it's going in the right direction and good things are ahead.
It's Ian Eagle, CBS Sports. He has the call of the game this Sunday, and always good to catch up with him. The full conversation, extended conversation, coming up soon on the official Jaguars podcast network. We'll return. Jeff Lageman joins me again. And this Chiefs defense, where the Jaguars could take advantage this Sunday. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
When two great traditions team up, Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Ian Eagle for the conversation this week. Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment each and every week also. The Chiefs and the Jaguars game presented by Everbank this Sunday. Packed house, standing room only. You know, I would expect, Logs, a similar feel to the Titans game at the end of the regular year last year and the playoff game. Just because it'll be close. It'll be close.
Yeah.
Defending champs are here. Home opener. Jags won a division game last week. I mean, there's a lot going on in this game.
No, I mean, it's going to be have a lot of energy. It's going to have a great feel to it. And I don't know if it would have that sense of urgency of Tennessee or the playoff game just because, there's no tomorrow.
Had to have them, yeah.
But, I mean, here's the other thing. You've got Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs coming in here, which is, I think, gives you a lot of energy in and of itself. I mean, that's a good football team, good coach, Hall of Fame type coach, and they're coming into your place. And last year, all the fan base knows that this football team went out there twice and lost, and they know that they have a home field advantage in Kansas City, and they want to give this football team the same here.
It really feels like the 18 Patriots game, 2018. Jags lost in the AFC Championship game in New England, knocked them out in just awful fashion. The Jaguars were robbed of that game, didn't work out. They come in week 2, and the Jaguars beat them, and this place was going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But you remember who the quarterback was in 2018?
I do.
And?
It was Blake.
The great Blake Bortles. And love him. And he's
it was
a great guy.
Tom Brady on the other side.
But you just don't, I think it just feels different now, obviously, because it's Trevor. And there's a high amount of confidence that you have a legitimate franchise quarterback that we've only begun to see how good he can be. And I can't wait for the moments. I mean, you go back to that game in Indianapolis, some of the throws that he had in that game, the one to Zay where he literally throws the ball and Zay's at like the 9-yard line. The double move didn't really work, but Trevor puts it in the perfect spot. And a great catch by Zay. Mm-hmm. The bootleg to the left throw to Zay. No, to Zay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one touchdown to Zay was just a great job by Trevor of extending the play. And believe it or not, the offensive line did a really good job on that.
Oh, and Calvin. That was the Calvin
That's
Ridley
Calvin's touchdown.
Yeah.
But the bootleg to the left, and then where he kind of tossed that ball into Zay right before the safety could make a hit on Zay. When a quarterback's running to his left and to be able to touch that one in there, I mean, that was excellent throw. And then the one throw to Ridley where the two defenders were closing a window and then collided with each other. I mean, talk about throwing the ball into tight windows. I mean, and the decision-making wasn't fantastic. He had some great moments, but there's a lot for him to even improve upon. And when all of a sudden you see the advancement that he's going to make this year, I think we're in for a treat.
You think they put a number up on the Chiefs?
I think they win. I don't know what the number is going to be, but I feel like that this team right now is in a good place, a little bit better place than Kansas City right now, and then they've got home field advantage. There's the old argument, well, the Chiefs are going to come in, they're going to be upset because they lost week 1. And I kind of sat there and I was like thinking about that for a minute. I'm like, well, wait a minute. The Jaguars lost to them twice last year, so are they going to be madder?
Yeah.
We're
ranking mad fans and teams all of a sudden. How's that work?
I just think that the Jaguars football team, I think they're ready to play this Kansas City Chiefs football team, and I think that this team matches up better than they have in the past. In games past, you were always thinking about, wow, hope this Jaguars football team, if they're going to get a win, they got to steal a possession. They've got to do this. They've got to win the turnover battle. They've got to, control the off-schedule plays by Pat Mahomes. They've got to limit Kelce.
It's a long list.
I mean, you had all these things that you were thinking about, and they kind of added up to the perfect game.
Yeah, right.
I don't think the Jaguars need to play a perfect game to win. I think they need to play a good game, that's a different perspective from me from last year to this year. I thought last year had to have a couple breaks, had to, steal a possession, do this, do that. And then I don't want to say have a perfect game, but you had to have those things kind of fall that way. This year, I think if this team plays it straight and plays well, they win.
The Jaguars went to Arrowhead in the regular season last year and executed an onside kick on the opening kickoff of the game.
There was your stolen possession.
That's right.
And it didn't help.
They had missed a field goal or something, right? Something happened.
Yeah, you ended up not getting any points out of it, which hurt. And you had a couple throws to Christian that were down the field that were just missed. And, but, I mean, I think this time, this team I think is in a different mindset than last year. And they should be because they're a good football team. And But the reality is, if you're a good football team, you still have to go out there and show that you're a good football team, and you got to execute.
I misspoke. It was a punt. It was not a missed field goal. They got to the Kansas City 39. That was
got no points out of it.
0 points. We'll return. Plenty more ahead on this matchup. The Chiefs and the Jaguars coming up Sunday at the Bank, and this is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Jaguars fans, Everbank is building its future on the partnership and the performance you know and trust. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars today for your financial advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. The Chiefs and the Jaguars coming up week 2 at Everbank Stadium. The home opener this Sunday. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. I have in front of me, Jeff, the Chiefs injury report.
What do you got?
A lot of eyeballs on it this week because of the players that have been on the shelf last week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back with an illness, did not practice Wednesday. He was full today. Should be good to go. Chris Jones was obviously with a contract dispute, has been limited both days, getting back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the defensive tackle. Travis Kelce, tight end, with a knee injury, limited Wednesday, limited Thursday. You know what he can do. So why press the issue, right?
He's a veteran guy.
Yeah.
You know, give him some reps. I think he plays. I don't think there's any doubt.
Okay. L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback with a knee injury, limited the last 2 days, including today. Richie James, wide receiver, full with a knee issue. There's 3 or 4 other guys that have little things, have been full both days, including Kadarius Toney with what is listed as a knee injury, but full both days of practice.
He's had. That's what kept him out of training camp for so long was the knee that he was rehabbing. And I give Andy Reid credit. Kadarius Toney had a tough outing, and Andy Reid kind of accepted some of the blame at his own doorstep.
He did.
And that's what good coaches do, and I got a lot of respect for Andy Reid because he didn't have to do that. But he came out and he said, he goes, I take some of the responsibility of that because he hadn't had training camp, and we just put him right out there and expected him just to kind of hit the ground running, and that probably wasn't fair to him, and probably asked some things that for him to do that I probably shouldn't have asked. I think when players see that, they respond to that. They got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot built up over the years like that too. That's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing. That's honesty. That's Andy just being Andy and being honest. I don't think he's doing that because he's going, I'll get some points from the locker room if I kind of take some of the blame. Yeah. That's just, I think that's how Andy's wired.
Yeah, if it was the other way around, then he's not going to throw his players under the bus either. That's just not his MO. Unless he'll still tell you the truth.
Oh yeah. He's
for the most part
kind of got that grandfatherly kind of approach. Yeah. But it was funny watching his press conference from yesterday, and he kept getting asked about the whole Chris Jones thing. And he's like, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I mean, he's a really good football player. Because everybody wanted to have more info. How it went down, the communication, did Andy step in, and, how does it change his football team? How is he going to be received? Yeah, and he just kept saying, look, he's a big part of our success that we've had around here, and he's a really good football player, and it's great to have him back. What more needs to be said?
Right. By the way, we're talking about Andy Reid. Have you ever seen the video, and I think they've shown it on games, of Andy Reid participating in the punt, pass, and kick competition as a teenager?
Yeah, when he looked like he had like an illegal birth certificate.
Right. He was massive, and the kid behind him is like half his size.
Yeah, I did see that.
Great video.
Did you ever do that, by the way, punt, pass, and kick? I did that all as a kid for years. And had, I don't know how many trophies for punt, pass, and kick, but there's probably a lot of people out there that have no idea what punt, pass, and kick is.
What is it there, Logs? You participated.
Well, it was so you would go to these, and they would have different competitions, and one would be, the first one would be kind of local, and then if you did well, then you would advance to the next one. And so you literally would throw the ball as far as you could, and you wanted to make it straight, okay? So they had like a line going down the field. So if you threw it straight and it landed on the line, that's your distance. If you threw it a long way and it veered off to the right, let's say 10 yards away from the main center line, then they subtracted 10 yards off of the total distance because it was inaccurate. And then the punts and the kicks were the same way. So you had essentially a score that added up the distance that you punted and the distance that you kicked and the distance that you threw. So punt, pass, and kick. And then you would have a winner. They would have age groups and girls divisions, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun. Did
you ever win?
I won some of the lower level contests, the local ones.
Yeah.
But then once I got up to the other ones, then I didn't have the big arm.
Yeah. Let's come back. Our final thoughts ahead of this Chiefs-Jaguars game. What a game it should be here at the bank. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. The 2023 season is Pawsome. Introducing the Four-Legged Fan Club, the Jaguars' official fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners and the chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit Jaguars.com/promotions/Four-Legged Fan Club to sign up.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Final minutes of the program this week. The Chiefs-Jaguars game is presented by Everbank. Advantage you. Make the most out of your money at everbank.com/Jaguars. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Doug Pederson in the opening segment. We had Ian Eagle, packed show. Glad you've joined us. Join us again on Sunday for Countdown to Kickoff here on the Jaguars Radio Network. That begins at noon ahead of the 1:02 official kickoff time at the bank. Get down here early. It will be a packed house.
Yeah, it'll be packed. And, Kansas City, I wonder, it'll be interesting to see how their fans travel.
When you've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years, you have fans everywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but Kansas City has never been known, to me anyway, that was a team that traveled well. Like, Cowboy fans travel well.
Well, there's Cowboy. I don't think
Green
they
Bay
travel.
fans travel well.
I don't think they're not
Pittsburgh
traveling.
Steelers travel well.
Well, they're here. They're all here. They really travel in. The Bills fans traveled in.
Bill fans travel.
Right. Okay. But there's Steeler fans everywhere.
I think there's going to be a
be
lot of
Chief
teal
fans.
and not very much red.
That's fine. That's the way it should be.
I totally agree.
We'll take it.
Well, I just think 69. What is it going to be like? 69,000?
Yeah, in the high 60s. Yep. Wow. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Weather forecast.
What's the weather?
Let's take a look real quick.
95 degrees, please.
No, it's not going to be that hot. Right now, high 87, 60% chance of
60.
rain. So we'll see. A few days out, it could change.
I just hope it doesn't rain, just because you want to
fast track for these teams.
Yeah, right? I mean you want to see teams to be able to execute what they do best. And look, we're talking about 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league, and the best quarterback in the league for sure, Patrick Mahomes. You want to see the conditions that are conducive for those guys to do their thing. I mean, this is, the marquee matchup of all quarterbacks in Week 2 in the National Football League. So it's the best.
Enjoy the show tonight. All access.
Big Roy.
It's Roy Robertson-Harris, the guest.
That Roy Robertson-Harris guy.
He's at String Sports Brewery tonight. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, David Cho, Brent Reber, Andrea Curry, Eric Waringa, William Pease, Kate Waskey, our entire crew. And thanks to you for listening and for watching the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.